So this this anti police movement is stupid. I mean, this is mainly a message for um, it's a message to my kids and I don't know, whoever else it might be a blessing to. But and I don't know what's going on in this world. It just seems really strange. Nothing seems to make much sense. Um, there was a street party in Brixton the other day, an illegal one, um, and somehow at the end of it, they decided that smashing police cars was the thing to do. And a number of policemen, quite a few policemen, were injured. Um, and I'm never really, I don't know, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't feel like I've experienced a time as strange as this, where people are openly attacking the police. Um, and I'm sure it must just make people really worried. I mean, the police for one, because I mean, if there's anything you need to have, it's order. You need to have a respect for authority, and if you've got a contingent, a section of society that just says, "Screw you guys," what do you do? I mean, a lot of things that hold us back are sort of social norms and just societal expectations. And what happens if you're just like, I don't care? What do you do? So the police must be at a loss because they can't just whip out a gun and shoot them. In the UK, it's very different. Discharging a weapon is a huge undertaking. It's not something that gets glossed over, and I'm sure it's not the same. I don't think it gets glossed over in America either, really. But I think there are a lot of implications that come with firing a weapon. A lot of paperwork that has to be filled out, even if you don't kill anybody. So it's not something that police officers particularly want to do. But in the light of, such violence and destruction, and brazen disrespect, because I think at the end of it, fighting a police officer is one thing, and smashing a police car and their vehicles is one thing, but the complete disrespect is something that's more of a problem, I think, because it really speaks to how do you deal with that issue. I mean, someone having a fight with a police officer, okay, you could say that's one rogue person. But if you've got this sentiment which seems to be gaining momentum now, where it's like abolish the police, you know, I don't know what planet. I, it really speaks to people that have never really gone through anything in their life because they've got nothing worth protecting. Why would you think that fighting the very people that actually are there to help you in your time of desperation, in your time of need, and there have been many. I'm sure most people have at least thought about calling the police because of a situation. Imagine not having that option. I don't know. I just think it's just crazy to me to even think that that's an option for people. And I didn't listen to the entire thing, so I'm gonna go back and have a listen. Um, but just a message to you know um, my children and society in general. You've got to respect authority. Um, Now that doesn't mean you blindly follow, but I think there's a way in which you can air your grievances, and showing disrespect is never a good sign. I think I always say to my kids, I always say to people, anyone that cares enough to listen to me longer than 2 minutes, that respect is free, courtesy is free, manners are free. It doesn't take a lot of effort to give them out, but they are sorely missed when they're not given. And I think there is a real issue when you've got a group of people that decide, I don't want to show any manners, respect for a group of people. Because what that tends to do is amplify a feeling that they don't matter, and what they say doesn't is of no significance. And if you are the aggrieved party, and again, in this case, it may have something to do with racism, even though I don't really know what the link is. So this is where I need to do my research and have a look and go back and find out what the issue is. But if it is because you don't respect the police because they're institutionally racist, okay, but how does that? Are you talking about every policeman? Because there's got to be some that aren't, and if they are all racist, how do you think being racist towards them essentially is going to solve anything? It's not going to make them change their mind and say, oh, you know what, me being racist didn't work out very well. This person's extremely rude to me, and you know what, they're proving to me that they are worth me changing my mind. It doesn't work. You can't bully people into a change of mind. All you do is suppress them. All you do is keep them quiet. All you do is encourage them to not talk or to not attack you. So I think that there's an issue where if you think that approaching things in a way where you don't like something that's happened to you, therefore you have to act in a way that is vengeful. It's not going to get you the results that you want. You might think it does, but it won't get you the results that you want. So I don't know. There's a lot more things that I need to say, and a lot more things that I'll probably get to at some point. But for me, it's quite disappointing to see that this thing that just seems to be gaining more and more momentum, that people have a real disrespect, a real disregard for authority, and it's not going to lead you any good place. It isn't. There's a way in which you need to articulate yourself, and there is such a thing as a self-fulfilling prophecy. You are just acting out what people accuse you of. So I don't know. I think there's some thoughts there. I think people can really, if they were just to take a few minutes to think about what they were doing, because I don't see how this solves anything. I think if anyone is on the fringes of being racist, I think when they see things like that, it just confirms them, confirms to their mind, yeah, okay, I actually think these people are animals. This happened in Brixton, and the weird thing is, I mean, Brixton is not the it's not the area it was, many years ago. Since the Olympics came, it just changed so much of London, and Brixton was one of those areas. So for it to still have those tensions, it just seems very strange to me. Not to mention the fact that everybody's supposed to be self-isolating, or at least, somewhat cautious of what's happening. The last thing you expect is to have a street party, which is, again, I'm going to keep my ear out to see what the government says against that, because, again, everybody's so super sensitive. They don't want to say anything towards minorities. They don't want to appear racist. But for me, that just points to weakness, weak leadership. It's got nothing to do with, if you know you're not a racist, you don't need to bow to people. Just be strong and say, I'm sorry, excuse me, no, I'm not racist. And therefore, you don't even need to address it. You just need to say, this is what I'm doing it for. But too many people go for optics rather than substance. So we get into a situation like this where a group of people have decided that smashing things and destroying things is the best way to go about things, in order to affect change. But all you got to do is get people to do what you want them to do, but it's not going to give you any satisfaction at all, because you haven't earned it. They don't want to do it, and the second they can reverse that, you best believe they will. So again, it's, you know, you can't dominate people and expect them to be complicit forever. There's going to come a time where you're going to be constantly looking over your shoulder and worried about, you know, revenge, because you've displayed revenge, and therefore it's only in a matter of time before they do the same, and then we go into a cycle. You know, it's just, I don't know. It just beggars belief that we can still have grown. You know, I'll say this, and this will be my last thing. I find that I used to think that once I hit a certain age, I would stop, you know, thinking like a kid. Like, you know, oh, I want to play this game. Oh, I want to just watch this cartoon. Oh, I want to, you know, just lie in today. I don't want to do that. I thought once I reach a certain age, all those kind of childish mentalities would just disappear, just evaporate, and I'd be, you know, I'd only speak in wise sounding tones, and I'd be very stern faced and wouldn't laugh at much, and basically act like an adult. But I'm realizing that everybody's faking it. No one's a real adult. Even the people that you see in suits and, you know, walk very stiffly and presidentially, they're full of it. They are all. Everyone is just on the take. They're just faking it. Everybody, nobody knows what they're talking about. They can sound like they do until, you know, some scrutiny, and you find out they're just a blithering mess. They don't know what they're doing, and they're just using word salad to get out of an issue. So the layman's like, oh, I didn't understand a word of that, but he did sound like he knew what he was talking about. Okay, well, that's fine. I'll vote for him, or okay, I'll let him off. But a lot of them, man, they're just, everybody's just faking it. Everybody's just handing in someone else's homework. So I don't know. Anyway, before I go off on a tangent, it's just this disappointing to me. I think us as black people, we could do so much better. We have so much more to give, man. And just this kind of ridiculous attitude towards authority, the very same authority that we need. If anyone needs it in the UK, it's us. We're only 3% in the UK, 3% black, and we're talking about abolish the police. Man, I just don't, man, it's folly. But again, I think that comes from feeling like you don't have anything, and that feeling isn't warranted. And I think a lot of that comes from people that, you know, their jobs their jobs rely on the spread of division and racism. So people always feel like they can't do something, and if you don't feel like you can't do something, then you feel like you don't have anything, and if you don't feel like you have anything, then you're gonna go out and do what they did in Brixton. But anyway, that's it. So hope that has some type of impact. My wonderful children, I'll be speaking to you obviously every day, trying to instill the right things in you, teaching you the right way so you don't depart from it. But yeah, okay. Anyway.